Well,
one of us is happy.
There's Anthony. Anthony, before we kick you out and before everyone who watches this show turns against you, do you want your 30 seconds of fame before you become the most hated man on this panel?
No, actually, we got to have a talk because there were some real dirty hits in this game. And I'm a little ashamed of the Broncos defense. I'm happy we came out with the win, but we gotta have a chat about some of the dirty hits. And I'm sure you guys will get to that. But good game. On to the next week. And the Broncos maybe get their playoff spot, but I don't really know if I want them to have it with the way they played this week. So I'll go watch chat. Good luck, everybody.
Well, with that out the way, it is 27-12. There is actually a play before the 2-minute warning here. We jumped the gun, but there's no need to wait. Barring some miraculous, never seen before, improbable comeback here, the Cleveland Browns are set to fall to the Denver Broncos in Denver. It was a game that left questions in all three phases. And the three phases are offense, defense, and coaching. And we will touch on all three of those. DTR's hurt. Cooper's hurt. Miles was banged up. G, I know you were tweeting about Kevin Stefanski. We will get to Stefanski in a sec. But let's start with the person who we can evaluate because his day is officially over, and that is DTR. What'd you think you saw from DTR? We're talking about PJ Walker next, but DTR specifically in his first road start. How'd you feel about DTR's performance today?
Well, I thought DTR looked shaky. Looked like he couldn't find where he was at. He missed a lot of guys behind him. Miss low, miss high. I thought in the second quarter, I thought he had a little bit of a warmth. He was warming up his moxie. He was a little bit better. I thought he hit a couple of guys, got him open. But for the most part, I thought in the beginning part of the game, he was all over the place. It didn't help that when he did start to hit his stride, guys were dropping the rock. To me, and I thought, I'm not a big Mark Sanchez fan. I was kind of puzzled a little bit why we were throwing the ball as much as we were, especially in the first few quarters. His first few drives, especially being in Mile High. Crowd was involved in the game. To me, I thought they would run the ball a little bit better, given the fact that you're going against the worst defensive unit in rushing, giving up rushing yards and things like that. But for me, as the Browns give up a safety, for me, I thought DTR was shaky. I thought DTR had his spots, but in general, he looked like a rookie quarterback today.
Earl?
Yeah, I thought for the most part, it wasn't that great. It wasn't really pretty to watch. I thought in that third quarter, he did make a few plays, a couple throws. As G said, when he did make some throws that looked pretty good, the wide receiver didn't hold on to the football, but he seemed lost out there. A lot of passes was going behind the wide receivers. Just really didn't seem like he can make the proper read. I think he averaged like 4.6 yards per throw. You know what I mean? So not a good performance at all. And, unfortunately, I kind of got to feel like I got to walk back some of the things I said, as far as feeling like we will be okay with DTR under center. I hope he's like, okay, I know he suffered a concussion. I hope he's all right with that. But that was not pretty at all, at all, And to you, both of you all's point, it's funny. I interviewed Jason this morning, and he talked about that Kevin Stefanski is the opposite. He doesn't use the run game to set up the pass. He kind of uses the pass game to set up the run. I kind of disagree with that theory today. You're going against a Broncos defense that's giving up 160 yards a game rushing, which is dead last in the NFL, and you didn't come out and establish the run early. Now, when you finally seen the run was working, you started to utilize it more, but I kind of thought you should have came out with that. You know what I mean? That would have been your opportunity to kind of make DTR comfortable and take some deep shots downfield. But it was just a bad loss, man. An ugly game across the board for the Browns.
Yeah, I'll say my Stefanski thoughts of the game's finally over. Because the game, there's still 2:20 left. We actually jumped a 2-minute gun by 7 plays, a safety, a timeout, and a couple incompletions. So I guess that's bad job out of us. There was a safety. DTR, I thought for a 3-drive stretch towards the end of the first half and early in the third quarter, he looked like a guy you could win football games with as long as he didn't turn the ball over. But in the first quarter, I just don't know what the Browns want him to do. It seemed like everything was so quick. And you said it last week. They were playing a dangerous game against Pittsburgh. Well, that's on tape now. And they played that same damn dangerous game early against Denver. The biggest difference being Denver has Pat Surtain, who might be one of the 2 or 3 best cornerbacks in all of football, and safeties who fly around the field in a way I don't think the Browns have seen teams have safeties like that. And that's not even a shot against the Ravens safeties. They just play a little different brand of football. Geno Stone isn't coming down. He's more fading back and picking off passes that are more downfield, just a different brand of defensive backs they've seen. I didn't think they asked him. I didn't think Stefanski asked DTR to do enough to once again show us what it could be, but to show us what he could be. But he played decent for a stretch, and outside of that, he was shaky. And I don't think, and I'm a Stefanski defender. You guys know that. I think Kevin dropped the ball today and did not put him in a position to succeed. And like I said, we'll talk about not running enough. We could talk about the reverse call, which I know we'll get to in a sec. And DTR got hurt. PJ Walker came in, and PJ Walker is just not the answer. I think we could all come to that conclusion. But it is – I'm just confused, I think is the best way for me to describe it. I'm confused at what the Browns were trying to accomplish today offensively. And very rarely do I feel confused after watching 60 minutes of football.
Well, so here's what it's going to be. And I know people want to, say in this town, it's either get rid of Stefanski, fire Stefanski, or Stefanski needs an extension. I think what we all need to understand is this game called football is a week-to-week league. And you don't get credit points that you build up so you can just drop the ball. And so some people will call it flip-flopping. We call it accountability. At the end of the day, if you do a good job of calling plays last week, that's great. I could tell you did a good job. Claps. Hey, pump the fist for you. But if you come out today and you call a game like you called today, I can't go back and say, well, last week you said he called a good game. Well, he did last week. This week's was not the same. This was not. He read the room. He had a good. He called a good game against Pittsburgh at home. When you have the crowd, when you understand what the controllables are, when you go on the road and you're playing against the worst rush defense in the game, and you get guys that are averaging 6. I think Jerome Ford averaged 7 yards a game carry or something like that. When you come out and you're throwing the ball as much as you do, with your tackles being what they are, and being in Mile High, a very loud crowd, and you're asking DTR to throw the ball downfield, you got to understand at some point he's a rookie, and you have to understand at some point you're down to your third running backs, and you gotta, you got tackles that are turnstiles. You got so my thing is this: week to week, you have to have the discipline to call the game that you know that you can win. And sometimes, and this is for better or worse, this is what Kevin Stefanski is a play caller. Kevin Stefanski is going to beat to his own drum. It does not matter what his advantages are or what his disadvantages are. He's going to call the plays that he wants. And sometimes you're going to end up with the Kevin Stefanski game where the tight end fumbles the football on 4th and 1, or a reverse that was going to get blown up in the backfield that leads to pretty much the game being over. You're going to have to deal with those. And those are the things that are in the back pocket of Kevin Stefanski and what he does as a play caller. And you're just going to either have to live with it or say, Kev, what are we doing here? This is what it is.
Yeah, man. When I look at it, I really hate to flip-flop, but I got to call it how I see it. And the truth of the matter is, man, I think the biggest thing with Kevin Stefanski is he's just inconsistent, right? And it's really hard to sit up here and keep calling him a good head coach if he's consistent week in and week out. And I'm not going to say he's bad, but I think maybe he's just average as a head coach, like, because he can't seem to do anything right on a consistent basis. I too felt like he dropped the ball out there. Like earlier today, I talked about kind of like reading the room and how important it was for us to win this game. If you look at the AFC and how tight the AFC is, you can't afford to lose games that you should win. And I understand playing in Denver is a tough task, and I understand that, the Broncos are now winners of 5 straight. But you're the better football team, or at least I thought you were the better football team. And I thought that Kevin Stefanski would do a better job of basically like utilizing the Browns' strengths and attacking the Denver Broncos' weaknesses. You know, it wasn't hard to really identify that they had a weak run defense. And I don't feel like he did enough to kind of like attack that early on in the game. I don't really think he did enough to put DTR in the best situations to have success. I can't really put too much of this on DTR if I'm being totally honest, man. When I look at it, a bunch of drop passes, you know, he got to run a place that's called for him to run. And with him being a rookie quarterback, I'm not sure if he knows enough to go out there and look and read a defense to the point of making adjustments on the fly. It seems like it's just one read, boom, try to get the ball out. You know, and when he was able to show some things differently in that third quarter, that didn't last long because he ended up getting hurt himself. But this was bad. Like, this was bad, and this doesn't look good on Kevin Stefanski. You know, Jason Lloyd wrote an article last week saying that Kevin Stefanski had already earned a contract extension. And part of the interview this morning, I asked him, I said, you know, right now the Browns are 7-3 going into this game. And Jason, with 7 games remaining, if for whatever reason the Browns was to go 2-5 or 1-6, did you still believe that Kevin Stefanski earned that extension? And he said yes. And for me, I totally disagree with that. I think these last 7 games, including today, I think they are going to be vital in evaluating if Kevin Stefanski is the coach next year. And this is why. You have a 7-3 football team. They are 7-3, you know, even after everything that they've been through and, you know, injuries, off the field adversity, the whole saga, whatever. But if you sitting at 7-3 and then you drop the ball and you don't close this thing out, you can't finish. And how can I trust you going forward to lead this team if that's the case?
Everything we said about Stefanski last week was right in the moment. I didn't think he had a good game today, but it's not like Stefanski's the only reason the Browns lost. The defense allowed Denver to drive down the field twice, 80 yards each time, scored touchdowns in the first half. In the second half, after they scored the touchdown and then missed the 2-point conversion, which wasn't a great throw by DTR, but Amari Cooper still got to catch that. They had a chance to seize all the momentum. The defense allowed Denver to drive back down the field. The Browns had 7 drops. I mean, we can blame coaching all we want. And once again, I do not think Stefanski's without blame here. But it wasn't like the players had their best performance either. Defensively, I come away from this game, Denver ran the ball against Cleveland in a way we haven't seen many teams run the ball. And, the way they used the traps, the way they used Cleveland's aggressive defensive line against them was something I guess I knew was going to come at some point this season, but I didn't think Semaje Perine and this Denver offensive line was going to be the offense to capitalize on what the Browns do so well, but used it against them. So Stefanski definitely wasn't perfect, but I think there's a lot of other areas around here that also did not play up to par today.
Hey, let me show you something real quick though. Here's where, you know, when people bring out the statistics, this is a point where statistics matter, right? DTR 14-29, 134 yards, right? Now you may say, that's not too bad. 14-29, he had 1 touchdown, whatever the case, 73.1 rating. But the game he should have been going, the game that Kevin Stefanski should have been shooting for is the game that the Denver Broncos had. 13-22 for Russell Wilson, 134 yards. But look at this. You decrease the amount of times he's throwing the ball. His average is higher, 6.1. Still had a touchdown, but he has a 91.9% rating. Why is that? The numbers seem very, you know, the same. Let's go back to where it comes at. When you look at the Cleveland Browns rushing the ball, Jerome Ford had 9 carries for 65 yards, 7.2 a carry. Right?
He was good.
You look at what the Denver Broncos did. Denver Broncos in total, ran the ball 39 times, right? 39 times to Cleveland Browns 24 times. Javonte Williams, 18 carries, right? For 65 yards. It may only look like you have 3.6 yards per carry. That's what he got. Semaje Perine, 7 carries for 55 yards, 7.9 yards per carry. Even Russell Wilson ran the ball 11 times. But so many times we get in these arguments about the minutia, whether it's the play calling or whose fault is it. Here's the problem. I just consistently continually tell people this. It is not how many times you run it. It's about the game plan that you call. And the game plan that the Denver Broncos called today at home was a game plan in which They controlled the ball. They controlled the time. The Browns defense on the field most of the game. And even when the game was a 2-point game, you always felt like the Denver Broncos had control of the game because they stood what they wanted to do. And the confusion that you have with DTR is because there's a confusion in the identity of the Cleveland Browns. We've said it from get-go. We don't know who we are. When it gets close, when it gets tough, what are we? Are we a trick, razzle-dazzle, reverse flea flicker team? Are we a short passing team? Are we a hard-nosed hand the ball to Kareem Hunt team? Because when we dropped the ball and fumbled with Harrison Bryant, you could have just turned around and gave the ball to Kareem Hunt and got 2 yards and kept it pushing. So my thing is this.
Scott, don't you have to figure out with DTR, though, when you have a new quarterback, don't you have to – isn't it impossible just to assume you're a certain type of team when you don't exactly know what you're getting from the quarterback?
The assumption should be DTR is nowhere near on the top of the pecking order, and the game plan has to look a lot like it did in Pittsburgh. But sometimes I always tell you this: it's not when you look in the mirror, you have to be true to who you are. Sometimes Kevin Stefanski is not true to who he is. He looks at the results. He sees the way he had to play against the 49ers. You see the way you had to play last week against Pittsburgh. You see those ugly games that you have to win. And then there's 2 or 3 games a year where he says, well, the statistics be damned. I'm just going to throw the ball and I'm going to do tricky stuff. And I'll turn this off to Earl. Really. When you're looking at the way the game is played, people don't understand this. 1 or 2 plays can cost you, especially in this AFC, especially on how defense is being played. This ain't wide open games. These are very close games from team to team, and 1 or 2 plays that are off can cost you. And today it cost the Browns.
Man, where that super chat at that was just up there? I think it was from B Has, man. Somebody throw that back up there. 42 pass attempts, 16 handoffs to Hunt and Ford. That's a losing formula. I need that super chat because I need to bounce off of something that G just said. Hey, G, I'm going to keep it real, man. I think Stefanski is being true to who he is, and that's the problem, right? This Cleveland Browns team is built to run the football on offense. And when we do it damn well when we want to do it. But we know for a fact, everybody that's associated with UCSS know for a fact, Kevin Stefanski is in love with throwing the football, right? No matter who's the quarterback, no matter what the situation, this has been his thing since he's been a head coach. We know that he likes to use the passing game to set up the run, not the other way around. We know that Kevin Stefanski would drop any quarterback back and make him pass the ball 35 to 40 times. So, to me, it's starting to show a little bit of stubbornness because even when the run game worked, you try to revert to this philosophy that you believe in instead of looking at your team, looking at your roster, and looking at how you have success and just rolling with that. Instead of rolling with works for you, it just seems like when we have some success and then when the fans and the media kind of back off of him, it's almost back to, okay, let me try this my way again instead of just going with what's working. And so maybe he truly is being true to who he is, and him being true to who he is not really working for the Cleveland Browns. The fact that we knew going into this game that the Broncos gave up as many yards rushing per game to opposing teams as they did, and this is what the results are. I find it hard to believe that you spent all week preparing for this team, scouting this team, seeing what their weaknesses were to drop back and throw the ball 42 damn times with a quarterback making his first career start on the road.
The Browns had the most carries and rushing attempts of any team in the league entering this week. So to say they don't run the ball is just
but I'm talking about this week. But see, Mike, we talking about we have to. I feel like we got to evaluate this thing on a week-to-week basis.
I don't think Stefanski did a good job today.
I'm saying.
I don't think
that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. No, what I'm saying is to talk about where the Browns are leading up into this game. That's irrelevant. We talking about this game in particular. You can lead the NFL in rushing attempts and rushing yards coming into this game, but if you choose not to run a ball against the league's worst run defense, then what you did up until this game is irrelevant.
Well, you just said his whole mantra is he doesn't like to run the ball. They lead the NFL in rushing attempts this season. So
no, his whole mantra is Kevin Stefanski is a head coach that prefers to pass the football. Everybody knows that. But to say the Browns lead the NFL in rushing and coming to this game, it's so what? Where was that this game?
I agree. Listen, I'm with you. I agree that they should have ran the ball more this game. Denver's run defense is dead last in the NFL, and even the last 4 weeks, when they've been better, they're still giving up 137 rush yards per game. The fact they only ran the ball 16 times makes no sense to me. But I'm just saying, if you're going to say Kevin Stefanski doesn't like to run the ball, that's just factually incorrect. Like, they have more rushing attempts than any other team in the league this year. They've also run more plays, which is why they've had more opportunities to run the ball. But let's not pretend Kevin Stefanski doesn't like to run the ball.
I'm speaking about the game plan coming into this game. When you sit back all week and you evaluate your opponent and you try to evaluate what their weaknesses is and what their strengths is, and you know they have a weak run defense, there's no excuse for only running the ball 16 times.
I agree with that. I like Jerome Ford, when they came out on the first drive of the game, 3 passes. Second drive of the game, 2 passes and a run. And I'm looking around, I'm waiting for the G text. Where the hell's Kareem Hunt? And then it came the next drive. G texted us immediately after. I think Kareem Hunt should have got more carries today. I think Jerome Ford should have got more carries today. I still want to see more Pierre Strong in this offense. I never want to see another reverse. We could literally scrap any type of reverse they have. Gee, I'm not sure. You played high level in high school and college. I don't know what erasing an entire sheet looks like, if that's literally throwing it into a fire and burning it to ashes. I'm not sure what that actual evisceration of a play sheet looks like, but whatever it is, get that the hell out of Berea. Get it out of the state of Ohio. I never want to see anything along that again this season.
Yeah, the reverse. First of all, the defensive tackle had blown that play up. Even if Pierre Strong does not drop the ball, he's tackled for a 10-yard loss. That's just put that out there right now. Second of all, everything that we talk about all the time, and I think we get caught in the minutia of the situation. I think we need to take a step back and say, listen, you can't run everything with PJ Walker or DTR. You just can't. Like, your whole playbook is not available to rookie quarterbacks or PJ Walker. It's just not. I would love to do a lot of different things. I would love to go to Morton Steakhouse every day, but the way my checking and savings is set up, I can't afford to do that every single day. And so when we talking about scheduling plays and setting up plays, all we want is give your team a chance to win the football game. That's all you want. And you have to also call a game plan towards what your defense was looking like. You saw people going out like flies, right? You saw people going out like flies. It's thin altitude out there in Denver. And guess what? Denver was like, well, listen, we're not going to be throwing a bunch of jump balls to Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. We're going to run this football. We're going to keep it copacetic, keep it on the ground. So they had a complimentary football game. See what I'm saying? Like, you can't just in a vacuum say, okay, well, we should throw the ball. You also have to figure out, what are you doing offensively, defensively? What are we doing? You don't have all of your guys. Denzel Ward was grossly missed today. Greg Newsome we saw a lot more zone coverage. We saw a lot more of that because you did not have him and Emerson and Denzel Ward in the game. So the way you call plays as a play caller counts. And my thing is like this. And I always ask people this question, and watch how many people just drop off and don't say nothing. Why is it that if you said, hey, are you against Kevin Stefanski giving the play calling to an offensive coordinator? Are you against it? And my question is, if you believe Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, a good head coach, let him be a good head coach. And find somebody else that may be able to have a microscopic pinpoint accuracy on looking at, okay, which is the best way to put our team in position. Because if you like Kevin Stefanski because he's a good head coach, the guys fight for him, there should be something that also says we shouldn't lose a lot if maybe somebody else with a fresh set of eyes looks at this offense and figures it out.
It's one of those discussions we can have every week. He made some good calls today, made some terrible calls. I feel like this is the same discussion running it back. Let's talk about the defense for one sec, guys, and we'll get back to PJ Walker and what to do moving forward. This is a game, G and Earl, we talked about all week, saying I'm not sure the Browns are going to score a ton of points. regardless whether they ran through whatever. Denver's defense has been playing better. G, I think you picked the final score 17-10 on Friday. Earl, I'm not sure you gave an official score. I picked 16-10. So none of us thought it was going to be an offensive showdown. I don't think anyone predicted the Browns defense giving up 29 points or 27 with the safety. And Denzel Ward didn't play. And early on, we saw the Broncos attack Greg Newsome. His tackling left a lot to be desired. Myles Garrett got dinged up a little bit, but he didn't have the same impact he's had in previous games. And overall, outside of JOK, it felt like a lot of guys were not playing up to the level we had seen the last couple of weeks where the defense had been, frankly, stellar. G, or Earl, you can start with this one. Are you surprised that the defense took a step back today?
Yeah, I am.
They were going against.
I am. I thought our run defense got exposed a little bit. Like the way that our defensive line was playing, like they was playing the wide within the tackles, and it seemed like Russell Wilson, just being a veteran quarterback and understanding the scheme that he had seen before, clearly he was just checking down to runs in between. Where our defensive tackles were spread out at, and it was working every play, no matter who was running the football. It was tough sledding out there for them boys today. Jock played a good game, but he was about the only one that I can really think of that actually went out there and played solid. The Browns didn't even really generate much pressure. I mean, they got pressure on Russell Wilson, but they wasn't able to get him to the ground, which was kind of shocking because coming into this game, he was like the fourth most sacked quarterback in the NFL. And so for them not to be able to kind of put some hits on them and get them down to the ground, that was disappointing. But just to see us get, gashed like that in the run defense was kind of crazy. I think we had gave up like over 100 yards rushing in the first half. You know what I mean? That was wild. So, I definitely think they took a step back. You can see the visual frustration on Jim Short's face in the first quarter. So they got to get back to the drawing board and use this game and review that tape to try to kind of correct some things and get better for next week.
G, anomaly, or did Denver figure out something?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think they had a nice approach and a nice scheme of what they wanted to attack the ball from the run standpoint. However, the Browns have a lot of people out. You look at Anthony Walker being a middle linebacker, out. You look at your best corner in Denzel Ward being out. You look at guys that are now switching around, playing a different position. Taki played a different position. You saw Myles Garrett obviously be dinged up a little bit out there. Not the same, coming off the ball. Even you got guys like Zadarius Smith that were dinged up a little bit. And this is why, and from a defensive standpoint, this is why me coming as a defensive lineman, right? And that's where I played up front. And when you are running the football, and it's that time of year, it's Denver, it's November, it's getting cold outside, and you got big dudes coming off the ball, double teaming you to the next level. And you got to tackle guys like Williams and Semaje Perine. That's an accumulative effect. And the thing about people don't understand about defensive line is that's over a long period of a season. When cats start leaning on you, you get an ache here, the pain here. It is so difficult to ask your defense to be super elite every game with no room for error. And as you start to have guys go out in strategic places, you're going to have some leaks here or there, especially in the run game. And that's why when people say, G. Bush, you go crazy. Why are you such an advocate of running the ball in this? It's a new era. Only reason I'm telling you what I know is because I know how hard it is to get off blocks and tackle people when it's 2nd and 3 and 3rd and 3, and they're mixing it up. And when you mix it up, guess what happens? That pass rush disappears, ladies and gentlemen. You can't be running upfield and they turning the ball, handing the ball off for 9 or 10. I may sound like I be beating a dead horse, but trust me, I'm just telling you from what I know. And when you start to see that, and when you start to see the games get colder and it's November and December, it's the run game that wins games, not all that superstar passing the ball down the field. That's just what it is.
I wonder if it had a similar feel almost to week 4 when DTR played, and the defense kind of got the feeling early on that the offense wasn't going to be able to do anything. And I'm not going to say they packed it in by any means. I'm not accusing them of that. give Denver kudos. Like, they put together 2 long drives. We did a McNugget stat on Friday. Denver, since week 6, was ranked in the bottom 5 in the NFL in scoring drives that started in their own half. So in negative territory. And they put 2 80-yard touchdown drives together in the first half. So I'm giving them credit. But it just felt like the defense maybe had a level to go up a notch and was like, it's kind of a lost cause. Let's save our battles and fight another day.
There wasn't no level today.
Yeah, it just felt like they were complacent. They kind of saw the writing on the wall, especially when PJ Walker came in. And I guess this is a good time to transition to PJ Walker.
Before that, though, I think we talked about it. I wasn't here last week, but the week before last, I know we had talked about it on the post-game show that, the defense been starting slow a lot lately. The first quarter has been rough for the defense. And we've been giving them credit for making in-game adjustments, getting their stuff together, and kind of playing lights out for the remainder of the game. But all three of us alluded to the fact that eventually playing that way was going to catch up to you and bite you in your fire. Yeah, you was playing with fire, playing that way. And, you can say what you want to say about Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, man, but both of them are Super Bowl champions. They are both veterans, and they both been around for a long time. And you've seen that veteran experience come out in the quarterback position, in the head coach position. And, you talk a lot about that defense who gave up 70 points to the Dolphins. And they DC, man, they remind them of that every single week. And I just kind of thought that was kind of, something to look at, G, that we talked about that a couple weeks ago, even in victory, right? We didn't have really too many things to pull apart from that game, but we was like, this defense, they start off slow, and yeah, they might make some in-game adjustments, but eventually you keep starting off slow like that and you keep playing from behind like that, that stuff will catch up to you.
Work.
And you're playing from behind, and then you get these unnecessary penalties, on top of it. That don't help matters at all. So just something else to kind of throw in there to
I got a question real quick. And Earl just mentioned Russell Wilson being a veteran quarterback. And if you look at the quarterbacks the Browns have played this season, Joe Burrow, week 1, he was a little hindered. But outside of that, and Lamar, obviously, Lamar's very talented. They haven't really played kind of like that savvy veteran who's in the more cerebral part of his career than he is in the physical prime. And I'm not sure if it was just the hot mics on Fox, but you heard him call pizza before that read option he kept in the second quarter that got a 28-yard gain down the left sideline. Do you think he was able to see things at the line of scrimmage and adjust in ways that some of the other quarterbacks have? Or was that just – and I'm asking, like, you laugh. I have no idea because you know that stuff better than I do. Was that Russ Wilson doing stuff, or was that just the Browns kind of getting out schemed in certain ways?
Nah, that's a good question though. Because it kind of alludes to what I was saying early. You can't run everything with DTR. Mm-hmm. And even if you get the correct picture, it's just like he just does not have enough reps to be able to process what people gonna give him. Like, there was a good shot of Joe Flacco on the sideline kind of dissecting things where it's supposed to go. And the great point is you brought up Russell Wilson. See, Russell Wilson done seen all of those before. And on the run, he's able to say, oh, I see how y'all crashing down with these defensive ends. How's about let's go ahead and run the read option, but instead of the read option, it's a quarterback keep. I'll just take the backside, I'll take the fullback and lead up and lead. And Mark Sanchez was like, oh, that's a touchdown. If that was 5 years ago, that would have been a touchdown. But it's just, and then they flipped the play, ran it again. And so what he's doing is he's setting up how he wants to have this game run. Now, look, that may only be a play of 12 yards right there. But guess what? They ran it twice now. Now, every single defensive end that comes into the game, they're not going to be running upfield like that because it's in the back of their mind. They've already set that up. So now what they're doing is that is almost good as having a blocker there because the defensive end has to respect what you're running now because you showed it twice and you're not afraid to pull it. So now they got to respect the zone play. They got to respect that. And you're going to get a little more time on your play action because they can't just run upfield. So for that's what I mean by when people are so quick to talk about the game and just absolute blanket statements, Russell is washed or Joe Flacco's washed. There's a lot of things those veterans have that don't have anything to do with what they do in the field. It's how they use the game and how they're able to set things up. And Russell said, look, I ain't going to be out here throwing the ball all day, 13 and 22, efficient. And we're going to run this rock. I'm going to cancel out a lot of stuff and get us in place. That's worth something.
Well, on the flip side of efficient, and successful is what we got from PJ Walker today. And I'll just say this, and I'll drop out, let you guys chime in early. You can start. But if I never see PJ Walker play quarterback in the NFL again, I can die happy. Earl, that's my analysis.
What you thought? You thought you wanted to get some deep, sophisticated analysis from me? Listen, man. PJ Walker was god awful, man. Like, I don't know if y'all seen my tweet. I tweeted out the Boosie gif. I was like, man, come on, man. Like, damn. Like, why us, right? Like, why they always got to be something with us? You know what I'm saying? Like, DTR would have gave us a chance to at least hang in there. But as soon as we seen PJ Walker come in, like, I started making graphics for tomorrow already. I already knew they were. I said it's time to get a head start, my boy.
Hey, I got a theory. Like, y'all ride with me in the chat. Y'all might think I'm crazy for this. Y'all might think I'm crazy. I'm gonna give it to y'all. Hey, put a 1 up. Put a 1 in there if you feel like I'm on something. Put a 2 if you think I'm just being G. Bush coming up with stuff, right? So my thought process when I saw the game working, McNuggets, was like, I didn't understand three passes with DTR. I'm thinking like, okay, come back again, 2 more passes, 1 run. You're like, dang, bro, like what is we doing? Like, is we gonna see Ford, Hunt? What we doing? As I started to see the game develop a little bit, it hit me. I said, listen, Stefanski is using this as an audition. What he's trying to see real quick is, look, if I give DTR the whole playbook, we're gonna let you sink or swim. I saw what you look like when we had the training wheels off. Let's take the training wheels off and let's see if you're gonna be able to be the quarterback running what I want to run the rest of the season. He gave him that playbook and it was mixed value. But the real test was to see how quickly do I need to go to Joe Flacco. I believe that not only DTR was auditioning. He was auditioning for his job, and for the most part, he looked like he was trying to do his thing. When he got hit and he went out of that football game, this season is now on Joe Flacco. There's no reason PJ Walker should ever touch another football. I thought he was auditioning with DTR to see what he was going to do, and we've seen what that looks like. I think next week Joe Flacco is the starter moving forward, and I just think that's something that's going to happen. What do we say, guys?
I will say this though, like that's a hell of a theory. I really hope that's not true because you can point to a few times during Kevin Stefanski's tenure to where we thought like he was kind of talking up a game just to see something, right? And like the way the AFC is set up, you can't afford to really be going out there trying to see something. You know, especially on the road.
But with that 7-3, Earl, that 7-3, he was like, I got something.
But look, I ain't saying you wrong, but if you went to Denver, like, let me just see something, and you know, like that loss column in the AFC, everybody is like within 1 loss of each other. That's a bad job out of you. And it only triggered a thought because there's been times where, you know, even when Baker was here, you know, that we said that Kevin Stefanski was trying to see something.
I'm trying to see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so like
to see what you're talking about, game.
So the whole like, yeah, that's kind of funny, man. If he out there trying to see something like that's hilarious. We ain't got time for that though.
G, let me say this, G.
Why people keep saying don't cry? I'm dog. I'm tired, man. I've been at the radio. I've been working since 6:00 this morning. I'm exhausted.
G, if it comes out that what you're saying is true. If that's the case, that is coaching malpractice, and Kevin Stefanski should be fired on the spot.
Why?
Because you're in the AFC playoff hunt, and you're not just in the hunt.
To see something.
You're competing to potentially host a playoff game in Cleveland, downtown at Cleveland Brown Stadium. You are still right in the thick of being able to play a home playoff game, and you cannot be sacrificing games of any magnitude whatsoever.
Go ahead.
So if that is the case. And I'll tell you why I don't think it is. But if that is the case, Kevin Stefanski should be fired.
Tell me why. Tell me why you think that you don't think it is. Go ahead.
Because the guy you're relying on, if it's not DTR, was bagging groceries 7 days ago. There's no way you could have that much faith in Joe Flacco already to know he's a decisive upgrade over DTR. Now, granted, we still don't know what DTR is. If DTR is going to be great, maybe he's great. And if DTR is going to suck, maybe he'll suck. I am in no position to make a judgment on what I've seen from DTR yet to project what his future is as an NFL quarterback. I think it's still too early. If you guys disagree, you guys can have your own thoughts, and I'm not going to tell you wrong. I just haven't seen enough yet, good or bad, to make a judgment. I know what Joe Flacco did last year outside of the game against Cleveland, and I know what he's done the last 4 seasons in the NFL since he's left Baltimore. Okay. And it has frankly been not that good. Now, could it be steadier than DTR? Is there a baseline that may be a little higher than what DTR's baseline is? Sure. But I know what that ceiling is, and I refuse to believe that he's going to sacrifice a game, which could be the difference in playing right there at Brown Stadium or going to Denver again with the young quarterback to put his team in that situation.
Listen, they're analytical. They're an analytical group. Listen, when you win this game, you got to think of best case scenario, worst case scenario. Worst, like think about it. These are the people that put DTR ahead of Josh Dobbs. They got rid of all the other quarterbacks. So it's not like they have not done some experimental stuff, right?
I would like if he did do something like that, man. He need to
watch this though. Yeah. Watch this though. If you looking at it, like how do you know DTR gives you the best chance possible to win a game if you don't let him go out there and run a natural playbook without trying to keep the training wheels on? You don't know that.
Well, you don't know that, but you gotta have common sense to know that you're playing in a tough AFC and you need every single game that you can win. So on the road against the Denver Broncos in a place where you came into this game 4-11, it's not the right time to go see if DTR is the quarterback that can win you a game later on down the road.
I'll tell you what.
I'm with Mike. I find it hard to believe that he thought like that, and if it comes out that he did, that dude needs to be fired.
G. Bush, we tried some weird things on UCSS. But we wouldn't do it on Monday at 11:30 the day after.
Yeah, we ain't trying to do it on Monday.
I done seen some stuff. I done seen. Listen, I'm gonna let me keep it real with you, right?
I don't think you're way off, G. I just think I just can't buy in. I just can't.
Watch this. So okay, let me ask you a question then.
Please.
We just having a little fun here. They already got smoked. What is the chance if DTR is clear from protocol? Mm-hmm. What is the chance Flacco starts against the Rams?
Okay, so it depends on when DTR is clear because so if DTR didn't get hurt, let's say DTR finished the game and we feel the same way we felt about DTR from what we saw to the end. Okay, is that the baseline we're going? Because he's not going to get cleared from protocol till Friday. So if he misses 2 days of practice, Joe Flacco is going to start.
Right.
Actually, let me say that. Joe Flacco better start because if I have to watch PJ Walker play a whole 4 quarters of football, I'm out. Steve, you can do the post-game show without me. I'm not coming on talking about PJ Walker on a post-game show. But let's be on the assumption, Earl, just for the sake of this, that how you felt about DTR, wherever that is on the scale, is how you're going to feel at the end of the game. No higher, no lower. I would still start DTR one more game just so I had an actual understanding. So I could say I had 3 full games in a row. You had 3 full weeks of practice leading up. And if
so you experiment now. I need 3 experiments.
Listen, I'm starting Flacco. Listen, all things considered,
I'm giving him one more. Today was not all on DTR.
We're not saying that.
It wasn't all on DTR at all, man. But I'm just looking at it like you in the thick of a playoff race in the AFC that's tough, and you just got to keep throwing stuff to the wall and see if it sticks.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not sticking. Whether it be his fault or not, he just not sticking.
But you can't go real quick. You can't.
It's just like, damn, man, just give me. Okay, just get. I'm trying anything at this point. Just give me the veteran.
Flacco and Flacco sucks. Can you go back to DTR?
You ain't got no choice. You went back 2-1 already with him.
I feel like once you go to Flacco, though, it's Flacco's job.
I will play all 3 of these quarterbacks in the same game if a need be, Mike.
I know. I feel
you get out, you get in.
Let's keep it real, right? Look, the fans might not agree with this because they frustrated after a loss, and we frustrated too. But like all of us said at the beginning of the season that if something was to happen to Deshaun Watson, it was going to be an uphill battle from there anyway, right? Yeah. Now somehow, some way, we done hung in there through everything we done been through. At this point, if we still in the thick of things, man, I'm throwing anybody out there any given week. I don't care how it. Look, I don't care. Before I'm putting PJ I don't care about perception. I don't care about like the optics or none of that. If I got a gut feeling that tells me Flacco gonna give me the best opportunity to win this week, cool. If he ain't getting it done and it's the 3rd quarter and it's a tight game, go get me another quarterback. Ain't nothing been cute for the Browns this year. Why try to get cute now? Why try to go status quo now? Just keep doing whatever you got to do to pull out a victory.
And
I don't even care who it is.
And here's the thing, and I want y'all to know this. And see, people be going crazy. Like, y'all don't think this is the conversation is this? They've already deemed behind closed doors that if they even sniff the playoffs, it is a raving success.
Yes.
Already. So for them, they're thinking like this. We got 7-4. We got to win 3 games. I don't care if we got to run direct snap 3 games. Like, that's the way they're looking at it. So when I say this stuff, like when I'm saying this, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm knee-jerking and about. Listen, they've already said behind closed doors, we lost Chubb, we lost Deshaun Watson, we are out there with 4 or 5 tight ends and backup tackles. If they can make it to the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs with a 100% D, that's what they're gonna do. They'll change these guys week to week. That's why I was screaming, McNuggets, get me a quarterback. Get anybody.
At the end of the season, we're going to look back at where is the Browns, barring a Super Bowl win, which I'm not sure is possible with Joe Flacco, DTR, and PJ Walker. Just told if anyone feels differently, drop a super chat. I'd love to hear why you think they can still win a Super Bowl. I'm not confident with that quarterback play they can. But I do know that when we look back at this season, the biggest misstep will be not addressing the backup quarterback position at the deadline. I'll live with the decision that you thought DTR outplayed Dobbs preseason. Sure, bad judgment. Hindsight's 2020. But at the deadline, when you knew what you had to work with, you knew Deshaun had a banged up shoulder already. I will never understand that decision. Also, if you put Joe Flacco back there, the offensive line was not very good today. And Joe Flacco is a statue. And I see
this is
why Joe Flacco's head get popped off his neck right now in slow motion in his head, because it could be ugly for Joe Flacco.
This is why. So have you noticed? See, you guys know me. I don't listen when it was Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb and all these other. Listen, I be on here screaming and yelling. Do you see me screaming and yelling? No. Do you see me all beside myself? No. Because this is still fun. This is a nasty experiment. We're playing in the mud right now, trying to make dinosaurs and looking for aliens. And look, bro, we are battling, we're fighting, we're trying to find something that's gonna stick. At the end of the day, we're not on here yelling and screaming because we understand that they're already short-handed. Well, things we say, even when I said Kevin Stefanski's name, did I say fire him? You didn't hear no fire out of G. Bush. Fire him. No, I'm just saying. This is what we got. It's still interesting.
I got a question for y'all, but this is more so for the chat, man, because I love to see the chat kind of go get emotional and go crazy from week to week. So you said that, the backup quarterback, right? This is for y'all. This is for the fans in the chat. Knowing what you know now, Andrew Berry did make the call to Washington. Washington said they wanted a 3rd-round pick for Jacoby Brissett. Do you think, in hindsight, Andrew Berry should have gave Washington a 3rd-round pick to get Jacoby Brissett? I'm interested to see what y'all got to say.
That's a great question.
I'm interested to see what y'all got to say, because y'all think we swing the podium from left to right. I'm curious to know what y'all have to say. Knowing what you know now, do you think that Andrew Berry should have gave up that 3rd-round pick to get Jacoby Brissett?
Give us a 1 for yes, a 2 for no. 1 for yes, you would give up the 3rd-round pick. 2 for no 3rd-round pick. It is.
Nah, I can't do it. You know why? I can't do it. I can't.
Hey, my man Ron said yes and no.
No, I can't. Because I'm still trying to find a replacement for Hollywood Lightning himself. Your boy that they told us was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but ain't showed up yet. Elijah Moore. I need to find. I got to give me another receiver out here. This looking dry as hell.
Hey, shout out Cedric Tillman, by the way, for having his first real appearance. It was nice to see you, Cedric. I'm familiar with your game.
This morning.
Him and DTR, by the way, and we know they played in high school together, so they do have that built-in chemistry. DTR and Amari Cooper, for whatever reason, this is now the 3rd game they've played together where they do not seem to be in lockstep. Something seems to be off in the timing, in the chemistry, in the reading of a defense. DTR and Cooper there has to be some sort of coming to Jesus moment between those two, because you're not going to win with Amari Cooper having the production he had today. However, it was really nice to see Cedric Tillman, especially in the first half. He had that hands catch, G, where he caught it out in front of his body and then brought it in. Yeah. And it was finally an ounce of the potential that we have been promised from Cedric Tillman. And it's a rookie. You know, it's going to come, and you got to be patient with third-round receivers. For the most part, they take a little bit of time to develop. But it was really nice to see a guy that the Browns thought could be productive in the passing game, because more often than not this year, it has been the opposite.
So a lot of people said more people said no than yes. Here's the funny part about more people saying no, right? They saying DTR ain't the answer. They saying Flacco ain't the answer. Flacco don't know the playbook. You know, the Browns fans is delusional. But in the same breath, the only quarterback that he did make a call for before the trade deadline, you saying you wouldn't have gave up the draft compensation to get him. I guess my next question would be, well, what else? I mean, what more do you want? Like, every option that's available, y'all saying no to.
This is what we do, Earl. You don't know?
Like
DeAndre Hopkins, no. Jerry Judy, no. Hey, do you want Leonard? No. We don't need him. We don't need nobody. This is what they love. They will tell you, no, don't you ask names, too many names, no substance, G. Bush. You want everybody. And we got a cap issue too, Earl. We can't
and I get it. Like he not the answer either, but it's like, I mean, what y'all want to do? Somebody said Cam Newton. I guarantee you, if they would have brought Cam Newton in here, somebody would have had a problem with him bringing Cam Newton in here.
And listen, we paid. This is so crazy.
You damned if you don't, man. You live in a world you can't please everybody. Somebody would have had an issue with no matter who it was. Like, it's just like it's I don't know.
Can we do this? Like, I think, and a lot of people will say this, but you don't want to pour cold water on it. Like, if DTR was playing, right? Well, first of all, Kevin's track record with DTR playing, DTR almost got his soul lifted today. I hope that brother is fine.
Yeah.
Like he look, it was bad. And on top of it, Amari Cooper got his soul lifted too. Like
his X-rays came back negative, by the way. So that is good news. X-rays came back negative.
Listen, to me, here's all jokes aside, we've been having a little fun. Here's the thing. You're starting to get to the point of the season where the Browns have lost a lot of people. But there are certain people, if they go down, wrap it up.
Irreplaceable.
Wrap the cords up. Let's get the hell up out of here. Turn that light off. Turn all that off. If Amari Cooper get hurt, chalk it up. If Myles Garrett is hurt, chalk it up. There's a couple of people we can't even mess around with. Like, because right now, like, if David Njoku was to get hurt, some would say his hands look hurt right now. Some say his hands got caught in the car door, slammed in a Brinks truck. I don't know. Some told me. I'm just playing, David. We like you on the show. You McNuggets boy. We can't say no. Shout out to y'all. But no, listen. If we have not had none of those like catastrophic injuries, but we getting kind of thin. We getting kind of thin, and it's getting towards the December. The Browns need what they need is a win against the Rams and come home and try to get a victory to get 2 out of this little 3. But they need to find out who's going to be a quarterback to do it.
Gee, I was just sent a tweet. Shout out to Evan for sending me this tweet. But Mary Kay just tweeted, Myles Garrett can't seem to lift his left shoulder. Needed help putting his shirt on in the locker room before leaving. So that is something to monitor, and that is not good. Not good. Did you see the play in particular? He got dinged up.
No, I didn't.
They never really showed which play. They just showed him kind of holding his shoulder at some point. I'm curious to see when that happened. But if he's hurt, that's bad. Bad.
Look. I mean,
hey, Boosie made a song a couple years ago that said sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah.
that should be the Browns theme song for the rest of the season.
Here's a great thing. Kevin Stefanski, here's the craziest part. Kevin Stefanski got you a game last week I think you could have lost. I think this was a winnable game that he lost. But you go out there and see if he make the right play calls. My thing is this. At this point, they're going to have to open up that vertical playbook if they got any receiver. They got to. They got to. And if Joe Flacco has anything left vertically, they're just going to have to do it because it's 10 games on tape. Understand what we just saw. 10 games on tape. They are sitting on everything. They are sitting on it. Hopefully we get Denzel Ward back too because we played a lot of zone.
Mary Kay just said Miles says he felt something pop in his left shoulder.
I told you I don't want to hear the word shoulder no more. Don't even say the word shoulder around me, man. Say the thing attached to your burst of your body or something. I'm so damn tired of shoulder injuries on this damn team. Everybody got a shoulder injury. What the hell, bro?
He also said, I'm not going to not play unless it's literally falling off. So
now you need somebody to save Miles from himself. Lord have mercy.
All right, well, here, we're going to read super chats, but first we'll go around the horn. G, you can start, then Earl, I'll wrap up. But 60 seconds each. They did lose today. Obviously, disappointing loss.
That's right.
They could have won a game, played 10 times. They probably win more than 5, but the sky's not over. The season's not over. The sky's not falling. So 60 seconds. G, you start. Tell the people why they should not be jumping off the bandwagon just yet.
Well, listen, that's the thing about getting some cushion, right? You're 7-4. You had a half game up on the Steelers, but you're still 3 games over 500. So, you look at the schedule and some of these other teams' schedule is going to be more difficult for other teams and, going down the backstretch. I look at a situation with the Cleveland Browns. If they can get back to who they are and run the football, keep it close to the vest, hit a couple plays here or there. They've showed that they have the not only the kicker but the punt game, the special teams game, and the defense to do it. But right now, injuries is catching up on them. So now we're gonna have to see games where the coaches may have had a bad game. You got to make up for it, right? You're not 7-4. You win next week, you go to 8-4. Now you got the 4-game cushion, and everything is much better. But here's how you win and get in the playoffs. You mitigate all of the long losing streaks, and if you lose one, get back to next week and pick one up. It's going to be tough with guys. Hopefully, Myles Garrett is back, ready to play. Hopefully, we can get Denzel Ward back. Hopefully, we get Anthony Walker back, and hopefully, there's no reverse plays next week. No reverses, dog.
Well, I mean, for me, my reason why nobody should jump off the ship is because everybody loves loyalty, right? Like, everybody loves when somebody is loyal. So since we loyal Browns fans, we're going to treat this like the Titanic and we the band. We just going to go down with the ship. That's what we going to do. In the words of Kevin Stefanski, let's just try to go 1-0 next week. That's all I got for y'all. Just don't use the word shoulder around me. Say boulder or something. Just we're gonna figure out something else to use for the rest of this week.
Flacco.
Hey, this has been a horrible ass weekend, man. Screw Ryan Day, screw the cast, man. Screw this ugly ass loss to the Broncos. Like, just screw it all. Just screw it all.
It's
dumbass weekend. That's what this was.
We're gonna ban that word. If anyone uses it in the UCSS office tomorrow before the show, we're gonna kick them out. It'll come up on the show, and I can't kick people off the show as it's happening live, but we're going to try to avoid using that. It sucks, but the reality is 7-4 is 7-4. We don't know if DTR will be back next week. Maybe he will, maybe he's not. It's a concussion, so that could be a 1-day thing. It could be a 3-week thing. We don't know. So until we know that it is officially Joe Flacco time, I'm staying positive. DTR showed me enough today that makes me think if he's playing, they have a chance to compete. And that's all you can ask for. And with this defense, with hopefully the ability to rebound in the kicking game and the home field advantage they have at Cleveland Browns Stadium, that's enough to win 2 or 3 more games, which is enough to make the playoffs. So you are still right in the thick of the playoff hunt. If the season ended today, you are in the playoffs. And if you had told me that we would have as many DTR PJ Walker games as we have had up to this point, I would say there's not a chance in hell the Browns are in playoff contention. So I will take that. And Earl, what's up?
I gotta tell y'all this. This happened, man. Chat gonna get a kick out of this. So when I was hosting Friday, I had a caller call in, the most outside of my mind thing I think I've heard. And I usually don't, I give Browns fans credit for being smart. Dude called in and said through 2 games, DTR is having a better rookie season than Baker Mayfield's rookie campaign.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and that should not
Turn
be
that off.
And G, you know, on the radio, you
Turn
know,
that
I'm
off.
cool, calm, I'm collective. I try not to be disrespectful to no callers, man. But
Get him up out of here.
I talked about Big E pretty bad, man. I talked about him pretty bad.
Wow.
That was insane. And look, I'm not even a Baker bro, but that's a prime example of when you don't like somebody, you will say anything.
Yeah, they will.
You would just say anything.
In his first 2 starts, he had no touchdowns, 4 picks. So, like, no, that's stop. We're going to read some super chats here. First one comes from Jeff Schlosser. Better not bench DTR after this. Losses on Kevin and drops, the worst defense in the league, and you come out throwing. SG said, investigate Peyton, Bountygate 2.0. Mark Tringhees, excuse me, says Kevin Stefanski is an absolute scrub, the worst rushing defense, and we constantly pass. I'm tired of it, man. You aren't smooth, Kevin. Go kick rocks. Correct 1789 says, why are we acting like the passing game wasn't working with DTR? Got to stop listening to the brain dead takes from Mark Sanchez. A-Dub Sigma said, I test DTR played great. Look at the drops. I don't know if he played great, guys, but I don't think he was bad.
Listen, there's sometimes McNuggets I really would like when all 22 comes out. Like I just want to just sit there and be like, yeah, that's not great.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Yeah.
That's not great.
That's not on the level of better than Baker, but great is definitely not a word I would describe that performance with. Evan 419 says 7 drops, 4 offsides. Newsome got exposed, had a chance to take the lead, and an Njoku drop leads to a DTR injury. But if we only ran it 5 more times. Raphael Quinoa said, I'm so sick and tired of Stefanski always trying to be cute with play calling, acting like he has Pat Mahomes at quarterback. Rick Stanfield says, Stefanski, what were you doing, bro? You were playing to win today, or did you bet on Denver on FanDuel? If you are bet with FanDuel, FanDuel.com/UCSS. Ronaldo Archer says, it's hard to overcome no Chubb, no Watson, no receivers, missing 2 tackles, missing Denzel. The Browns are a car with 2 flat tires and leaking radiator with a drunk driver and a blizzard.
Dang.
That's descriptive.
Damn.
Or 1789 says, let's please stop being the fan base that complains about coaching after every loss. It's embarrassing. The defense is awful.
Not.
Wide receivers had a ton of drops today. Set Apart Laz says, Russ was giving our defense all they could handle by checking the ball and calling audibles. We did not have an answer to their counters. B. Haas says 42 pass attempts, 16 handoffs to Chubb and Ford, to Hunt and Ford, excuse me. That's a losing formula. Bob Byler says we might have won if we ran and killed the clock, but Stefanski looks bad when his QB play doesn't win. His pride will always cost us. The Buckeye Picker said Stefanski needs to stop trying to outsmart everybody and just play hard-nosed football. Do It for Chubb says DTR also has to figure out his throwing power too. He overthrew Njoku. I'm going to decipher this, but I think he said he threw it too hard a couple times. He's got to back it off a little bit. I think is what he was trying to say. Rob Cunningham, never during a game do we say pass the ball. We say run it. Even the announcer said it. Ray Smith said, season's not over. It's okay to vent, but don't give up. Rated R says, y'all not going to talk about the drops? We talked about the drops. Inexcusable. Njoku had a couple. Ford had 2. Cooper had 1. I'm missing. Did someone else have a drop? I think that's 7.
Yeah,
we definitely talked about the drops. It's hard not to talk about them. They've been dropping the ball for the last 2 games.
Yeah. Listen, drops don't help any guy. Look at Patrick Mahomes. His numbers are down. The Chiefs lead the NFL in drops. And when you have a rookie quarterback who needs all the help he can get, any drop is an inexcusable play in my mind. You can't not help your quarterback in these situations. Simpo says it's Flacco time. Let's get back to 1-0 next week. Jay Boyer says Ryan Day and Stefanski have to go. Trying to make flaming yawns out of chopped liver quarterbacks. They should know better. Set Apart Laz says worst nightmares coming true. We're losing key players. Rat Generation X says this division has Harbaugh, Super Bowl, Tomlin, Super Bowl, Zach Taylor, Super Bowl. Stefanski never has and never will. He's the worst head coach in this division. Samuel.
I'm not even saying this. Look, they be acting like I said all this. These are super chats. I didn't say none of this.
Is it just me, Samuel Arnold? Is it just me, or did this kind of look like the first game against Baltimore? Rated R says lost our key players on offense. What else can Kev do? Set apart Laz says Tomlin somehow keeps finding a way to win. DJ Robot says, I believe Stefanski did not do good film work on Sean Payton. Payton ran his old Drew Brees offense on us. Everyone could see this. I'm tired of the Baker Bro level excuses for Stefanski being hard-headed. Jay Boyer says, just play simple football, run the ball. Even Mark Sanchez said, Mr. Butt Fumble himself, just play simple football. I'm going to the game next week in LA. Wish me luck. I'm going to the game next week in LA. Wish me luck. Good luck. Do It for Chubb said, PJ is dumpster juice. Put him in a blender. Damian Frederick said it was a 5-point game when DTR went out. He was playing all right. There were drops, good, bad throws. I think he's good enough. I know PJ's got 2 turnovers in him, 1.5 guaranteed when he enters in the third quarter. Do It for Chubb says DTR can move the ball but can't finish 2 games where he can't score over 6 points. He a rookie. I get it, but damn it, man. Thank the Lord for Dustin Hopkins. Daniel Rainish Bryson said, crazy take for you guys. Maybe Stefanski's play calling would feel more consistent if the general moving the pieces can't do it at a high level. Man, I'm just trying to have a hard time crucifying Stefanski without Chubb and Deshaun Watson. And those are super chats. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you. It sucks. Losing sucks.
It's been a rough weekend.
Not fun.
It's been a rough weekend.
It is what it is. Also, I got to figure out how to read these super chats with my glass. I got to literally look inside the computer to figure these out, but I don't have my contacts in. So we appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And next week is the Rams, and that better be a dub.
We'll see.
Peace.
Peace.